Good morning, everyone. Like Rebecca said, I'm a photo editor of Brides and Weddings, and I wear many hats. I'm also the director of operations and co-founder of Semper Canine Assistance Dogs, um, and I work on our sister publication, Prince William Living, as well. So, in a moment, if you go to my Pinterest, which there will be a activity that I'll ask you to do in a moment, you will see a lot of random things, and you'll probably see a lot of dog stuff and things of uh, different tastes, I guess. So don't expect my Pinterest to be full of wedding information. My Pinterest is full of things that I like, things that I am affiliated with, and that I'm passionate about, and I share that as a business page. So we will get into all of that in a few moments. Um, what I would like for everyone to do, if you're able to, if you're not on your watching this on your phone, if you don't have the Pinterest app on your phone, if you could go ahead and get that downloaded, because my next slide, I'm going to show y'all what a pin code is. And we talked about this in my last presentation, but it's still a very useful tool to have, specifically on your possibly on your business cards. Let me get over to the screen. And there we go. Oh, I think I hit it twice. I'm sorry. Yep, here it is. So, um, your pin code is something I've used this in print advertising before, and I know that it works because you get notifications when people scan your code. But this is a great option to have, and I'll explain why later on. But this would be a good idea to put on maybe the back of your business cards or on your business cards when you hand it to someone, if you want them to go to a specific pin board, or if you want them to go to a specific design layout that you've set up on your Pinterest account. This would be a good idea. So if you have your phone available and you have your app open, you can hit I guess everyone's app's going to look a little different. I have a Pixel, which is Android. So I have to hit the search button, the magnifying glass, and then there is a photo option. And as you open that photo option, it will automatically start swirling all these dots around, and you'll see it'll take you directly to my Pinterest account. So this is just a great tool and technique that you can use, that's something a little unique and different that other people don't have. And you can specifically send it to different pin boards, and we're going to get into that in just a moment. And I keep thinking I'm in PowerPoint and I can just hit the arrow over button, but that's not how this one works. Okay, so today we will be going over why Pinterest. This is important. I love this picture because realistically, who sits at their computer like this? I mean, some of y'all might, but I just always think it's funny when I'm looking at stock photos and there's just a perfectly set tray of cookies and the coffee and your flowers, and you're just sitting there. If I showed y'all my desk right now, yeah, it looks nothing like this. But anyway, so today we're going to go over user stats, to kind of give you a little outline of who is using Pinterest, how to set up your profile if you do not have it set up yet. We're going to talk about boards and pins, hashtags on Pinterest. We're going to go over a little bit of a marketing strategy, and then I'm going to discuss new features. And I do have the chat box open, so if any of you have questions along the way, please just type it in the chat and I'll be able to see it while I'm presenting here. So this is actually a quote from myself. Pinterest has the unique ability to drive traffic to your site, increase brand awareness, and allow you to share your style with potential clients. That's why Pinterest. That answers the question to me anyway. That is the reason why I feel like everyone should be using Pinterest. Now, I've given this presentation to non-wedding industry professionals, uh, car insurance or insurance salesmen, people that do that sort of thing. I don't think that you need a Pinterest. And again, you want to go where your clients are. So if you don't know where your clients are and what social media channels they are using, I would take a step back from trying to start a Pinterest account and answer that question. Where are your clients and what profiles and which social media accounts are they using? Are they using TikTok? Are they using Snapchat? Are they using Pinterest? Are they just using LinkedIn because you're a business to business client? I mean, a business to business that's looking for that a business client. So that you need to answer that question. And if your potential clients are on Pinterest using Pinterest to design their dream wedding or design the inside of their homes, there could be numerous things that they're on. I'm on Pinterest looking for um, farming and homesteading ideas and holiday ideas and recipes. So I could be your potential client. I'm already married, but I could be your potential client for something else. So you have to kind of just think about that. And then that determines if you need to set up a Pinterest. Pinterest is not for everyone. And I don't think that every business needs Pinterest. But if your clients and potential clients are on Pinterest, then you need a Pinterest. Here's a little bit of the user statistics. This is updated number from the original number I had was from July of 2019, and it was 250 million active users per month. Now it's 400 million, and that's as of October 2020. The largest percentage of monthly users are here in the United States, and 85% of their users are accessing Pinterest via mobile app. So why that is important is because you need to make sure your website is mobile friendly, not user friendly. I'm sorry. You need to make sure your website is mobile friendly, because if they are on their mobile app searching things like I'm one of that 85%. I'm actually every percent except the annual income, but we'll get to that in a moment. But if you are on your phone browsing Pinterest looking for something, you are going to click on it from your phone. And if the website you go to is not mobile friendly, if you're like me, then you're going to bail and hopefully you'll come back to it later when you're on a desktop. But it's a lot harder to read. So make sure your website is mobile friendly. And again, if you have any questions along the way, feel free to ask them. And if you need any assistance with some of the things I'm talking about, these are all things that we can help you with at Brides and Weddings, including some of your website things, especially if you need help getting your website mobile friendly. 71% of the users are female. That's no surprise. Everyone knows that. But and that number has decreased because when I did this last, it was 80% were females. Now it's 71%. So there are more males using Pinterest. And 40% of the new signups every month are from male users. 40% of the users on Pinterest have a household income of $100,000 or more, an annual income. I'm not quite sure how they calculate that. That's a statistic that they put out themselves. But interesting enough, I'm definitely in this category. 93% of active Pinners said they use Pinterest to plan purchases, and 87% say they've purchased something locally because of Pinterest. And that is absolutely me. If I find something on Pinterest that I like, I pin it to a pin board and then I go back and look for someone who can do it for me, because let's be real, we're in the here talking about the wedding industry. If a bride sees a wedding set up in California and they are here in Northern Virginia, they are not getting that florist in California to come to them. I mean, some of them may be able to do that, not with some of the budgets that are happening right now, but they will look for someone locally that can do that for them. So, and in a moment, we're going to talk about what kind of content you're putting on your Pinterest. Are you only putting your content, or are you doing vision boards? And that is crucial when you're doing your own content to be able to tag the location of where you are so that they can find you, because I do search that way. I see something on Pinterest that I want and I like, I will try to find someone close to me who can do it, even if it's a product. Even if it's a product that I find, I'll still try to look for someone local, because that's just where my brain goes. I try to support local. And I know not everyone's the same. So if this is helpful information here on your profile setup, even if you do already have a Pinterest. Again, you need to determine if you're going to have a Pinterest, like if you're a solopreneur, then you probably want to have a Pinterest that's branded to your business. And you can have a business account or you can have a personal account. And you can have a personal account with professional pin boards, and those are the ones that you're directing your clients to. You just need to think about your branding and how you're branding yourself and how that works best for you and your situation. If you have any questions about needing advice on that, just stay after the presentation. I'll be more than happy to answer that for you. But you want to claim your name, just like with Instagram and just like how Facebook does. You have a username. My username is Mrs. Beatty because, believe it or not, Amanda Beatty was taken, and I have a really unique spelling of my last name. So mine's just pinterest.com/Amanda Beatty. Brides and Weddings is pinterest.com/brides and weddings. So you need to make sure you claim the name because someone could come and take your name, and that's an easy way for you to direct people by having that short URL. It goes back to your branding. And as you can see, if you did the exercise in the beginning where you pulled up my profile, it specifically has my username right there under my name. Your profile image, if this is your business page, then you definitely need to use your logo. That goes back to your branding, and you want to maintain that consistency with people instantly recognizing that it's you. And if it's yourself, then you need to use a professional style photo if you're trying to use this as a business tool. You could still keep it as yourself and have a personal profile. If you do that, I would suggest having a uh, more professional uh, image there so that people see you and they know instantly who you are. Make sure your website is linked. I'm not verified on mine because I just recently changed my blog over, and I'm working on getting that back verified, but there'll be a little check mark just like when you're on Twitter or Instagram and you have that verification. And that just shows that you have more credibility, that people know that you are who you say you are and you are connected to these accounts and this is really your account. It also just gives you just another level of credibility and that you're verified. You get that little checkbox. And featured boards. When people first come to your page, you will have a handful of featured boards there. Yes, Laura, thank you for sharing. If everyone has a Pinterest profile and you want to share, please share it in the chat so that we can all follow each other if anyone else is interested. Laura has just put hers in. But you can have some featured pin boards there to highlight who you are and what you represent. I'm not quite sure what's on mine because I haven't looked at it from the outside perspective in a little bit. Looked at it from the public side, but if you have a floral design business and you also sell floral arrangements and then you do wedding arrangements and then you sell flowers just separately, you could have all three pin boards that are featured there that tell people exactly who you are when they come. So take advantage of the tools that Pinterest has. And in a moment, I'll show you how to access where all those tools and tips are. Okay. So if you're not familiar with how to create pin boards, all you're going to do is hit the plus sign and it's going to ask you if you want to create a pin board, a pin. And if you have a business account, it's going to ask you if you want to create an ad. That is an advantage of having a business account is you can do paid advertising just like you would with Facebook or Instagram. And I have experimented with this some. Again, I don't necessarily have a specific product I'm trying to sell, but I have experimented with it just to see, and it has been effective. And I noticed that when I'm browsing Pinterest and I see one that's being promoted, I have more tendency to look at that, and maybe it's just me because I'm marketing minded and I'm curious about it, but I do pay a little bit more attention to it. I can see it there. So you do have the ability to also create ads, but you're creating pin boards, make sure that you're creating things that are specific to your brand and the content that you want to provide. Be very strategic with this. If you have a blog and you have several categories in your blog, put those categories as part of your pin boards, because if they're important enough to be separated categories on your blog, then that's again aligning your brand to your social media profiles. And just make sure that they're relevant. And if you can have a collaborator, like let's say Amanda, y'all over at the Marine Corps Museum, if you have several other people on your team, you have the Marine Events profile, and you can add yourself as a collaborator to from your personal account, and you can add other staff people who find items on the internet, and they can easily tie it back to your main brand. So just the person that's logged in as Marine Events does not have to be the person that's pinning. You can have collaborators on your boards. You just need to make sure that y'all are connected on Pinterest so that you can easily add them as a collaborator. Again, a pin can be directly uploaded to Pinterest, or you can select it from your website. If your website is user friendly with Pinterest, if it's not, please reach out, and uh, we can try to help you figure that part out. But you can upload a widget to your website that has the pin box. I don't know if you've ever been on a site and you hover over an image and a little Pinterest button comes up where you can click it and it'll directly take you to Pinterest so that you can pin it. I've utilized those numerous times. And that way your website is Pinterest friendly as well. But you can upload them. You can just grab the URL and upload it through the URL to the site that has the images you want to pin. There are lots of different ways to do that. And again, I'm going to show you where the tips are in Pinterest, and they will do a step-by-step guide to help show you how to do that. Hashtags, hashtags aren't super important or absolutely necessary on Pinterest, but people do use them. So if you're going to use hashtags, then you need to use just a handful. I wouldn't go overboard. There's no reason to go overboard, but I did want to show you um, how many pins have the hashtag wedding versus, all of these other items here. And the relevance of hashtagging can be helpful, especially if you're doing it with a regional like Northern Virginia, the DMV, DC, or whatever you want to do. So that's just something that I wanted to throw out there, because some people do use hashtags. And if you are custom doing this for a business perspective, I do recommend doing a couple hashtags. And if you have a specific hashtag that's attached to your brand, then I would definitely throw that in there as well. And I'm seeing the questions in the chat box. After the presentation, we can address that. Okay, so now let's go into some marketing strategy. Again, if you're signed up as a business, you have access to the Business Hub. And in the Business Hub, there is a lot of analytics and knowledge and stats. It's really great to see which pins are getting the most engagement, who's actually clicking through the pins to get to your website, which you should be able to evaluate those metrics on the backside of your website as well. But it's good to see them in Pinterest, because then you can see what's more popular. Okay, this type of pin and this look was more popular. Let me add that into my strategy for the future. Again, there's a lot of tips inside of Pinterest, and I really love all of the tools that they give to you. And there are so many blogs out there and marketing blogs that give you all these neat tips and things you can try on Pinterest. There's just not enough time for me to go through all the tips. Maybe I can do a part 2 if there's interest in that one day. I share these 3 pictures. Animals are always a hot topic, or a hot something that people click on and share on all social media channels, and that includes Pinterest as well as food. I get on Pinterest normally right before I go to bed, and I don't know why I do that, because I see lots of food, and I get hungry. So food is always a big popular item on Pinterest, and weddings. Weddings is very popular, and home decor. Those are some of the really popular things. People also like to look for stuff for their children and that sort of thing on Pinterest. And of course, DIY projects. I had someone ask once, isn't Pinterest just for DIY people? And it's not. There are so many different things on Pinterest. My son gets on Pinterest and looks at tattoos. I don't know. He's 16 and he thinks he's getting a tattoo soon, I guess. But I mean, there's just so many things out there on Pinterest that people are looking for and that people are into. So tapping into what that user is looking for, that's your potential client, is part of the marketing strategy. And I think that's what we're going into next, is talking about breaking some things down. So research what pins are being saved in your industry. Look and see what's popular, and structure your pin boards to flow with how you operate your business. At Brides and Weddings, our um, pin boards, well, I think unless they've done an update, they used to be in order like, here's some cool engagement rings, here's some great outfit ideas for engagement photos, here's some awesome venues to start planning your wedding date on based on availability at the venues. And we would kind of go in the order of a wedding, and to include here your thank you and your follow-up and your honeymoon and all of those things. So if your business has a timeline of different steps that a potential client would be taking with you or prior to getting to you, and then after they leave you, include all of those things in your pin boards, and try to organize your pin boards in and structure it in that way so that it flows nicely with how you operate your business. And that's, look at other big brands that are a lot larger than you, that are in your industry, and look at what strategy they're using and see if it's working for them. See if they have a lot of people pinning from their websites. And there are ways that you can go and look and see how many people have pinned from a certain site, and you can see the stats, a lot of the stats just right there on the pin itself. It'll tell you. Especially if you have a business. So do that research and find out what's going to work best for you as far as your specific industry. And again, if you have questions about that at the end, we can chat about them. Define your goals. I said defined. Define your goals. Again, I said this seems like a no-brainer, but be realistic with how you want to have your Pinterest marketing strategy. I want to make sure I'm pinning at least 5 pins a week from my website, or at least 5 inspirational pins that I have found elsewhere. Um, and that's my goal. And I want to try to bring in at least 1 or 2 clients a year from Pinterest, or a month from Pinterest. Whatever your goal is, set a goal. And that way you can build a better social media presence for yourself. Don't get overwhelmed with the fact of, oh, I've got another platform I have to run. There are tools that can help you streamline your posting. If you're posting a single image on Instagram, there are some tools out there that can automatically pin that to a pin board. I have a trigger set up on my Instagram, where if I use a certain hashtag, that image automatically is loaded into Pinterest. Now, the downfall to using these tools is the website that the user will be directed to if they click the image will be to my Instagram. And I may want to go back in and tweak that. So do some maintenance on your Pinterest account if you do use one of these tools that helps you streamline your posting. Make sure that the link on your pin is going to the website that you want to go to. And again, Pinterest, you can get sucked in. I can spend a lot of time on Pinterest, and I track how many minutes on my phone of screen time I spend in each app. I do that every week. I look and see so that I know if I was not productive on Pinterest and I was just out there browsing and I spent 40 minutes in a week on Pinterest, then I probably need to be more conscious of how much time I'm spending on Pinterest and work on a different platform. It really goes back to your goals and what it is that you're wanting to do. Again, ensure your website is verified through Pinterest. Make sure that you have that app or widget installed to make it easier for visitors to pin their favorite images. You can also embed pin boards and your pins inside your blog post or set them up on the sidebar of your site. So that is another way to get engagement and get users to follow you. Um, on Pinterest, so they will see your items. And again, it's not as critical to have all of these followers on Pinterest. You're going to be able to see in your analytics how many people are looking at your site. But the more followers that you do have, the more likely people are going to be pinning your content. And I would encourage your friends and coworkers and your family to like your Pinterest and ask them to help you. There's nothing, you know, hey, like my pins that I posted this week. Repin them to your pin boards. There's nothing wrong with asking your close network of people to help do that, because again, it's all about an algorithm. And back when Pinterest first started, and I'm going to talk about their history before I jump into these new features. Um, Back when Pinterest first started in 2010, I became a user probably August or September of 2010. They rolled out their beta site in March of 2010, and I was one of their first 10,000 users. Um, the only things that showed up on your Pinterest newsfeed were from people you followed. That's not the case anymore. You're seeing pins from people that you don't follow. So the people that you follow, you're more likely to see people that you follow in your home feed on Pinterest, but you're seeing pins from everywhere. Back a long time ago, it was more critical to make sure people followed you because the home feed was only comprised of pins from Pinterest users that you followed. That's not the case anymore. But the algorithm is always changing, as many of you probably know, and it does shift around a bit. But with Pinterest, you're seeing things based on what pins you're pinning to your board and what search items that you are searching. I notice when I create a lot of Christmas pins, which I've recently done, but when I create a lot of Christmas style pins, I start seeing a lot more Christmas on my home feed. If I am looking at things to do to keep my chickens entertained for the winter, then I notice I see a lot more homesteading and chicken um, posts on my home feed. So the algorithm changes, and it really depends on things that you've pinned, whether you've made a private pin board or a public pin board. It just knows what you're searching for. So the days of making sure everyone's following you on Pinterest are over. However, it is a little bit more impressive when people come to your profile and see a lot of people following you. Um, so some of the new features that Pinterest now has is they've built in an editing tools, which includes cropping. You can adjust the lighting. You can lay your logo over the image. You can put text on top of the photo. All of that can be done inside of Pinterest now. And the great thing is that it will help you adjust the crop based on the sizing that Pinterest currently has. So that's a really great tool to use for those of you who may not be as tech savvy with using photo editing software. Um, it also lets you upload videos. Pinterest has had video uploads for quite a while, but now it's even easier. And you can also do collages with multiple images and be able to rotate those around. I wish I could like show y'all an example. It's a little bit hard to jump back and forth between the screens for me on this computer. So you can actually say, I want all four of these images to be in one pin together, and you can have them as a collage or as like a slideshow, like a carousel look. They've really done a lot of the things to help you with that. And now they have a tool that lets you publish your pin later. So if you wanted to do 5 pins and you want to do a pin right now, and then you want to share a couple of images later in the day, you can publish those at a later date, which is great, because I don't like for it to look like I dump a whole bunch of stuff on Pinterest and then I leave. But it would be great to time some things throughout the day. But again, that just goes back to your goals and how much time you really want to invest and spend in this. But if 100% of your potential clients are on Pinterest, then that might be something you need to look at. Pinterest and Instagram are really great visual social media tools, and they can work hand in hand together. And it just goes back to your goals and how much time that you have. And again, if you need assistance with these things, these are things that we can help you with at Brides and Weddings, or we can send you over to Rampant Social, which is the sponsor of this presentation. If you're looking for new features and step-by-step tutorials, I don't believe they do it on, I'm looking now to see if they do it on the app. I don't believe they do it on the app. But if you're on desktop, there's a little light bulb in the bottom right. If you hit that, it'll show you all kinds of new tools. And when you sign into Pinterest, a lot of times it'll tell you if there's something new. So that's always great too. And I do try to log into Pinterest from my desktop on a regular basis because of those tools and because of those new things that it is sharing with you. So again, it's a little light bulb on the side. I don't see it here on the app, and I think I'm kind of hung on the app because I was trying to um, do the pin code for y'all. And how to do the pin code, just in case you're curious, I did go over that last time. What you'll do is if you're on your home screen from your computer, if you click on your profile picture, if you're looking at your Pinterest profile and you click on your profile picture, it'll ask you if you want to create your pin. And again, that's why it's critical to have your logo as the Pinterest profile picture or a professional photo of yourself, because that's what will show up. And let's see what my next slide is. Oh, okay. So then that's pretty much wraps it up for today. And I do want to answer any questions that you may have, or um, we can talk offline, or we can connect you with Rampant Social if you need assistance with your Pinterest. If you have questions about your Pinterest or how to connect your website to Pinterest or whatever the case may be. And then we can also help you work on content for your blog and that sort of thing. But anyway, does anyone have any questions?